Hey everyone. It's a beautiful Wednesday afternoon here in Santa Fe. Very hot in the sunroom where I am. And I had a interesting experience today. I was just listening to the chapter of Letting Go. This is David Hawkins's book. I was listening to the Audible. The chapter on pride. I don't really remember what chapter number it is, but it's the chapter on pride. And I was it was like one of these things where it was just like perfectly timed for what I needed to hear today, because I got this, so I got in just a little bit of a very mild argument earlier today with basically my sister and my brother. We were kind of like talking about something, and then all of a sudden we were in this, I don't even want to go into details about it, but the upshot of it was something happened and I kind of took offense at it. And it was a very small thing. And then we talked through it, and like it all worked out fine. But I was kind of reflecting on it, and I was like, what hooked me there? Like, how did I get hooked by that? And what kind of was coming through, then I ended up saying goodbye to Bliss and his kids. They are on their way back to Seattle today. I went off to a piano lesson, and I was listening to the chapter on pride. And so what came through was that it was pride. There was a sense of like, it's not pride that I would have identified as pride. I wouldn't have said that I was being prideful, and there was nothing in the content of what was happening that I could have like pointed to and said I was taking pride in this. But there was just a moment of like me kind of acting with a little bit of abrasiveness, and then getting something back that also felt kind of like it was a jab somehow. And I just kind of realized the only way that I could get pulled off center by this is by having something to defend, is by taking a position that somehow I'm defending something. And one of the things that that David Hawkins just said in his book about pride was, pride is a precursor. It's one of the prerequisites for fear, because pride is this way of relating to either things in the world. We can have a prideful attitude about our possessions. We can have a prideful attitude about our opinions and our beliefs. We can have a prideful attitude about our status and our sense of authority. All these things we can take a prideful position on, and then when we lose, and then that sets us up to lose it, because we're no longer just in joy and gratitude for these things, or for these feelings, opinions, whatever. We're actually in a place of attachment, and a place of those things meaning something about us. And I think, as I've been reflecting on what happened earlier, I was like, that's what was happening. Like, there was this weird way in which I was kind of attached to being right. I was kind of attached to being I wasn't really authority, but it was kind of like my own sense of like, I'm doing the right thing here. And so it was really, I emotionally reacted against the idea that could be taken away from me, that somebody would challenge that. And it's just helpful to clock things like that, and kind of like, I think as I'm doing all this work around my patterns and whatnot, just to like say that out loud and recognize it and be honest about what it is, because it's really easy to do a little bit of spiritual work and then the ego starts to think, okay, I'm getting the hang of this now. And then the ego basically gets to reinsert itself into the process of seeing patterns, the process of deepening our awareness, right? The process of like understanding ourselves better. The ego starts to think, oh, I get how this works. And then it sort of like, we start functioning in a kind of prideful relationship to these things that are actually always only ever the only ever real when we're in a place of source, of surrender, of real present moment objectivity, and like willingness to see things for what they are. And so that's why I think for me, it's just I'm kind of deliberately trying to take a look at, well, I got hooked. Because I got worked up, there must be a reason. There must be something there. There must be a pattern. There must be something I'm attached to. Because if I had had nothing to be attached to, I literally could not have gotten worked up. It would be impossible. So what is that? And I think that's where for me, I'm seeing pride in a new way. I'm seeing my own pride in a new way. And it's, one of those things that's just like, ugh, I don't want to look at it. I don't like looking at it. I don't like admitting it. I don't like admitting to myself. Very, very, very quickly, my ego comes in and says, yeah, but actually you were right because of this. Yeah, but actually this and this and that. Like there's a very, very quickly my mind can come in and start to make the argument that it's actually right, that I was actually right. And that's dangerous, because that's when it's like the process of examining ourselves lifts off and becomes the process of defending ourselves. As long as we're in contact, in real connection, then the examination and the feelings can all be held in the moment. The moment can contain them, and we can contain them in our awareness, because we're not at war with anything. We don't have an agenda. We're not trying to accept these beliefs and repel these beliefs. We're not trying to, there's no jockeying going on. But as soon as we have something to defend, as soon as there's just the first little iota of defense that starts, it's all over in a way. Like after that point, now we are defending, now we're hedging, now there are things we will accept, things we won't accept, things we want to see, things we don't want to see. And very quickly you're off base. You're no longer spiritually centered. You're in your ego, basically. And so I'm just clocking this because I'm at a place where I can see how genuinely vital it is that I remain truly, deeply committed to this work. This work is everything right now. It's everything. It's orienting everything in my life. It's orienting every other aspect of my life, and every action that I'm taking, all my professional work, all of my teaching work. I'm about to launch a course teaching people to look at themselves honestly through the practice of music. And it's just kind of like just getting really clear on what I'm doing, and making sure that I'm in the pocket of this work is just paramount. That's the job. That is literally the job. So I'm kind of clocking this incident, trying to clock sort of where it's coming from in me, and also and just be honest, basically. Be honest and take a real good look at this, so I can hopefully let some of this stuff go. Who needs pride? Why do I need pride? It's not helpful. It's not a good feeling. Pride is not a good feeling. It's a weird attachment to it. It's this weird, dangerous aggrandizement of myself that actually is vulnerability masquerading as strength. It's not real strength. And so why would you want that? Who wants that? You know? Anyway, that's where I am today, people. Love you all. Can't wait to talk to you soon. Have a great afternoon.